Hey guys, it's Stephanie with the Local Talent Podcast. I have the beautiful Ella Darling here. Thank you so much, Ella, for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I have to ask, what is your favorite position?
I'm a big fan of doggy.
I'm not gonna lie, I used to not like doggy. I don't know if I was doing it right or what, but now with my husband, I absolutely love it. The top is the best. But I love getting finished from like the doggy style. How did you start in the adult industry?
So I started exploring modeling a little bit more, and I tried my first nude photo shoot, and then I tried doing some fetish stuff, and I was pretty sure I was going to hate it, and it was going to be scary, and the people were going to be awful because I didn't know anything about porn, and I had some really bad misconceptions about it. And once I started doing some fetish stuff and some nude modeling stuff, I really loved it. So I was a reference librarian at the time, and I finished up my first year working in a library, and I decided, I was 23 at this point, I could keep working at a library in Massachusetts and doing this kind of casually, or I could just move to Los Angeles and actually do porn. So I moved to LA around 10 years ago, and I started doing lesbian porn, and I really loved it. And then a few years into that, I met the person who is now my business partner or co-founder, and we started making some of the first VR porn, which is how I met my amazing colleague, Anna Lee. And so I've been doing VR porn for about 4.5 years, and last year I started working for this company, PVR, which makes a really great adult VR headset and content, which we're doing today. And they even make a camera. And yeah, so I got into porn because I wanted to challenge myself. And I started doing VR porn because I was really excited about the technology.
That is awesome. And especially you got your master's at 21. Holy crap, that's amazing. So you got into the adult industry. What are some of the challenges that you face?
As an adult film performer, there are actually a lot of challenges. So I would say the biggest concerns about being an adult film performer, people have this idea that we're all abused, or that we're forced into the work that we do, or that we just don't have any other options. And none of that's true. The biggest challenge we face is actually the stigma from society about the work that we do. When you make the decision to leave the adult industry, it can be incredibly challenging, because the fact that you worked in porn means that a lot of companies won't hire you. When you do find work, sometimes they'll end up firing you because they can't handle the fact that you used to work in the adult industry. I gave a talk about, I highlighted 10 different performers who were fired from their jobs after leaving porn, even some who'd only been in porn for like a month. Including one young man was fired from Subway because he did porn. Like, we can't even make a sandwich for people because we're tainted by this work that we chose, that everybody consumes. And I would say that's the biggest challenge. It's hard finding medical care, mental health care, who don't pathologize the work that you do. I once had my doctor lecture me about the work that I do while his hands were inside of my vagina, or not both of his hands, but while he was giving me like a gynecological examination, and he was lecturing me because I did porn. And that, I think, is probably the worst part. There's challenges when it comes to, finding work. Just like any freelancer, it can be feast or famine. We're contractors, so we don't necessarily have insurance. But yeah, I would say societal stigma is probably the worst part.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, growing up, I was a prude. It wasn't until I met my husband that I started to experiment, and we do have like our own at-home videos or whatnot. But after meeting Anna Lee, like, what you guys do, it's an art. It really is an art. I mean, you are brilliant. You have your masters, and it's just, unfortunately, there is that stigma with society, but there shouldn't be. Like, sex sells. You guys are all people. You are performers, you're artists, and you shouldn't have that be put on you guys. So aside from the challenges, what do you love about your job?
I love the people. The people that I've met in the adult film industry are some of the most amazing people I've ever met. They're uninhibited, obviously sexually, but also when it comes to just being their most genuine, authentic selves. they don't tend to be held back by like what other people are going to think about them. They're truly genuine, amazing people. I've made some of my best friends in this industry. It's an amazing community. Seeing how the adult industry community has risen up and joined together to fight political fights over the past couple of years, because there have been some laws that would have been really dangerous to the adult film industry, and seeing everybody join together and take a stand against it and show the world that we are our own people. We have agency, we have rights, we have, we don't need someone to come and save us from ourselves. We've chosen this line of work. And there's this sort of Captain Save-A-Ho mentality where certain organizations think that they need to help us because they think that we're voiceless. But the way that they decide to do that is speaking for us. And you don't help someone, if you think someone doesn't have a voice of their own, you don't help them by speaking for them. You help them by giving them a voice. And seeing the adult film community seize their voice and demand to be heard, it's incredible and it's inspiring. And yeah, there's just amazing people in this industry.
That is very inspiring. So if you had to pick between coffee, alcohol, or cannabis, what is your go-to?
I really enjoy cannabis, but it's something that I utilize as sort of a creative tool to help come up with new ideas and new directions and new concepts within virtual reality and some of the tech that I do. On a casual, if I'm just hanging out with people, I probably go for alcohol just because I'm more social. I'm kind of socially awkward sometimes.
Really? I would never have guessed.
You're so sweet. Thank you. But yeah, so if I'm like being social, I'll probably have like a beer or some vodka. But if I want to really create and get into the mindset where I'm gonna, come up with new approaches and new ideas, definitely some fruity sativa.
I do like the sativa. That one, I will say, when I smoke it, I do get ideas and I'm able to focus. If I do a hybrid, I'm going to eat whatever I can eat. If I do an indica, I am out.
Indica is such a nice nap time treat. If I am really anxious at night and I can't fall asleep, then I'll just vape a tiny little bit of indica and I'm in dreamland.
Yes, I use indica every night. I actually had thyroid cancer a couple years ago and I'm still in remission. And if I don't have that, I cannot sleep. I will just look at the ceiling and be like, when am I going to fall asleep? But I do have the best sleep with the indica.
Yeah, congratulations on your remission. That's a big deal.
Thank you. It's definitely life-changing, but in a good way. It's opened me up to living life in the moment and trying things that you're uncomfortable with. Hence why I'm actually in front of the camera instead of my husband, but I love it. So what would you say is, if someone's wanting to get in the adult industry, what advice would you give them?
Oh man, it's a really tough industry. When someone comes to me and asks for advice about how to get into the adult industry, I tell them not to, because if it's something that you need other people to help bring you into and boost you into, you might not have a good time of it. I think if it's something that you absolutely have to do, want to do, it's something that you need to do because that's who you are, then you're going to find your way and you're going to make it work. But like I said, the stigma is huge. If you're seeing porn as a stepping stone to something else, if you're coming into it because you think it's going to be a lot of money and easy work, it's not. It's very challenging. You have a lot of personal expenses just to stay camera ready. It can be really daunting when you're not getting work or you are. If you're going to do it, you need to be so industrious. You have to be a marketing professional. You have to be a production specialist. You have to do customer service. The way that you interact with your fans is so important to your longevity. And you can't really just rely on being cast in scenes anymore. You have to be your own production house. You have to make custom clips. You have to have accounts on different clip sites, on different fan engagement sites, and you have to be able to constantly produce content and get it out there, which is a lot, but it's also very empowering, I think, because now that we've seen a shift in the way that performers work from being, just actors that go to set and then come home and then that's it, to people who are managing their entire brand and brand identity. It's given performers the opportunity to have a lot of equity in the work that they do. When you're producing your own content and you're marketing it and you're selling it, that is your equity, and you can profit off of that in perpetuity. If you're sick, if you just need to take some time off, that is something that you can use to help get you through, rough patches or times when you just need to, take some time for yourself. But yeah, it's not something to go into lightly. It's not something to go into because you think it would be cool. It's something that you really need to see as a really big career move, and you have to understand that it will close doors for you. If that's worth it to you, then it can be absolutely incredible.
So how many films have you been in?
I could not count. It's been a lot. I've banged a lot of girls on camera, and I don't remember how many films I've been in. Okay, so I've had this experience enough times that it was definitely more than twice, probably more than that, where I'm at an adult film convention. I see this gorgeous woman. She's signing autographs. I am transfixed. I go over to her and I'm like, oh my God, you are beautiful. We have got to work together. And you know what she says?
What?
Hey, Ella, we have.
Oh!
So that's pretty mortifying. I don't even apparently sometimes remember the people I've been in scenes with, much less remember all of the scenes that I've done, but it's been a lot.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Again, Ella, darling, can't wait to see what you're working on next.
Thank you so much for having me. You're a delight.
Oh, thank you.